Okay, so welcome you all to this new presentation about flip learning because the ones that have been able to follow my process since the very beginning of my maybe degree and in the semillero and everything, you know that I love flip learning. So this is basically like the last presentation at university that I'm gonna do as a student. So flip learning is not about videos. It's not only about videos. So let's get started. So what people must like most people usually think this approach is about like, hey, what do you think about flip learning? Yeah, videos. The teacher sends the students or sends students a video and they have to watch it, and then they come to classroom and they fill in the gaps. They do a board game, or the teacher just stays here, for example here, maybe watching cat videos or puppy videos, and that's it. But what most people is not told most of the time is that flip learning is about something else, is where it goes beyond only videos and that's it. Okay, so after the whole process of my degree, my research project, I've read a lot about flip learning, for example from Professor Rodriguez Buitrago, and for example, the Academy of Active Learning Arts and Sciences, Talbert in 2017, the Flip Learning Network in 2014, Bergman and Sams in 2012, that I think they are like the pioneers of this theory. And I came up with my own. So today is like the second day I'm gonna share that with all of you. So flip learning for me as a teacher is an enriching teaching approach that fosters active learning and outside the classroom. It includes purposeful structured activities where students become the center of the learning process and the teacher is its facilitator, and enhances autonomous work, cooperative learning, and a good time or class time management. Okay, so we have approach that is an approach. It's not a strategy. It's not only a method. It's an approach itself. It fosters active learning, purposeful. I always struggle with this word. Center, facilitator, and time management. Those are the keywords. Okay, so in flip learning, we have two environments, two places or two moments. We have first individual learning space. So in the individual learning space, we have that or the concept that students they access the new knowledge, the new concept that the teacher needs to flip or to take out of the classroom in order to free up time and to focus on other skills and other things. Okay, so it is not only about videos; it is about many other things. And when I say many, it's many other things. For example, comics, infographics, hyperdocs, podcasts, and reading. Okay, so and videos, we as teachers, teachers that implement flip learning, we not only put the video on YouTube and that's it. No, we do something else with the video. In this case, I put a tool, a really useful tool, Edpuzzle. So Edpuzzle allows the teacher to keep track of students' progress and students to be really responsible with the task and responsible with the questions and everything they have to do before class. Okay, so as you can see here, this clock here is because preparing material for the individual learning space is very hard and time consuming. Okay, so we as teachers, we take a lot of time planning, a lot of time preparing material and all of that. But with flip learning, you're going to take more time preparing the individual learning space activity, thinking about the accountability activity that you're going to use for you to know basically what your students learned, okay, through that material that you just prepared. It's not only picking a video from YouTube and that's it from another person. It's you creating the video, you recording your face. If you don't like to show your face, that's okay. You just prepare a slide that can be really understandable. I don't know if that word exists. I just created that and I'm really nervous right now. um and then you have the other moment, like the class moment. the group learning space. So your students, they come to class. Um, it can be like in person, it can be virtual, and you guys know that it works in virtuality because I already talked a lot about this in the past. So this is a moment of production, but not only production, but other higher order thinking skills according to Bloom's taxonomy. So we have many other things other than board games. We have theater, we have songs, podcasts, we have recording videos, we have bingos. I love bingos. We have role plays, charades, a lot of things like those. Okay, so this is according to Bergman and Sams 2012. And if you see this icon here, it means that it allows the teacher to manage the time. Okay, so because before, when I didn't know about food learning, I told my students, hey, before, when I wasn't a really good teacher, as you say I am now, I used to teach you, for example, to explain the present simple for 2 hours. And then I assigned homework, like 20 parts of homework for them to do at home. And then they came and I didn't solve any questions. I didn't solve any doubts. And they were like, okay, we didn't learn anything. But when students come prepared to the classroom, they already know what we're going to talk about in the classroom. I love the next thing, that is questions. Okay, they make questions, they ask a lot. So when I started implementing flip learning in 2019, they said, teacher, I have a question. Teacher, can you please come? Teacher, I don't know why, how, what, all of that, like how, when, where, why. They made a lot of questions, they asked a lot of questions. And what this could tell me was that they were learning, like the objective we all have, learn. Okay, so in the individual learning space, students, what they do is understanding and remembering. So how do we make them remember? By using a tool that I'm going to show you next, that is the Kernel note taking system. But how do they apply, analyze, evaluate, and create in the group learning space? Okay, so we can have them differentiating things, organizing, relating, comparing, constructing, distinguishing, examining, experimenting, everything. And they could reach the creating part, because I have a lot of videos of them discussing, saying, okay, so you are going to do this, I'm going to do this, and we're going to create a podcast, we're going to do a presentation about music in the 80s, a lot of things that they could create and that I couldn't have reached if I had still kept like teaching in the traditional way. Okay, so the tool I talked to you about is the Kernel note taking system, which is used whether in individual learning space or group learning space. So I created this. This is my own design for them because I discovered that if material is well designed with good colors and all of that, they're gonna love it more and they are going to consider like what you're teaching better. So we have the topic, the objective, the date, the questions they might have during the during accessing the new concept in a hyperdoc, in an infographic, in the podcast, and then the main ideas of the topic and the possible answers. So maybe they wrote a question and then after that they could say like, oh, my teacher just answered my question. So they write the question, the answer there, sorry, then a little space for summary and then reflection. Like, what did I learn from today's material? Okay. And so I have here like a little bit of like to show you my material that I use. So um, here we have an infographic because you see like always grammar here. Why? Because what I flipped was grammar, because I saw that grammar was taking a lot of time in my classroom and that my students were not learning. They just were learning by heart what I used to explain, and like the I don't know, like the formula or like subject, verb, complement. Then in the question is auxiliary, subject, verb, complement, question mark. Yeah. So they started to change that mindset and started to think, well, now it's not only past continuous, it's not only the subject, the verb, and the complement, but it is used to talk about this, and this is different from past simple because of this and this. And I can create a sentence like this and this because they already they already took like access the content at home, and they already knew the rules, they already knew the structure, everything. They did some exercises, and in the classroom we started to do Padlet brainstorming, comics, podcasts, video recording, video journals, in a lot of websites that are allowed to like allow teachers to share experiences, videos, all of that. And here we have Pixton to create comics. um so for example, here we have a strip story that you can ask me for. This is to talk about past experiences, so they had to create their own story according to the pictures right there. Okay, so for the conclusions, we have the following. The first conclusion, the very first one, is that flipped learning is a significantly helpful and practical approach that allows teachers to free up time in class in order to work on other skills that students need to develop. So as I said, my what I needed to flip was grammar. Yes, because that was taking a lot of time in the classroom. And what I focused on after moving grammar out, I focused on fluency. So if you could take a look at my research project, my research paper, they really reached the level I wanted. They had and fluency in oral fluency in English, right? So I was really happy because flip learning really helped on that. And this approach is not only about videos, it also includes a wide variety of resources that can help motivating students and changing the perception about learning. So before, learning was like boring for them, like, oh my god, yes, I need to go to classroom because if not, I won't learn English and I won't have that job position that I want. And now, because my students were adult students, and now they say, I want to go and learn because I want to, not because I am forced to. Yeah. And the last conclusion I have is flipping your class is a great way to enhance creativity and to work in higher order thinking skills without worrying too much about time. Yeah, without always taking a look at the clock. Hey, it's time to change the activity. It's time to go. It's time to whatever. No, the teacher is going to have more time to do more exciting and motivating things in the classroom. So these are my references, a little bit of my references because I have over 60 references for my research project. This is just a little bit of what I researched for or on. And thank you. That's it. You have my contact information just in case you have a little like a question about flip learning. I can help you. I don't know about like a lot like my professors on Natra and Palencia and Carrillo, but I can help a little bit. And this is my website. The domain coming soon. Thank you.
All right, very interesting. Wendy, thank you very much. I think we have a couple of questions. Well, first of all, what recommendation would you give or recommendations would you give to those teachers who are just starting to get to know flipped learning and who are interested in applying or using it in their classes?
Well, what I recommend is reading a lot to get the I recommend to get the books from Talbert 2017, Bergman and Sams 2012, to take a look at the Flip Learning Network, and also Professors Rodriguez Buitrago and Marta Ramirez, that they have both have websites that you can take a look at the blogs, at everything they upload like real frequently, and also watch videos. Maybe if you can pay the Flip Learning course, that is also really helpful because Bergman, he uses a lot of tools to make us understand a lot what flip learning is about, and also read, watch videos. There are a lot of people right now that are working with flip learning. And also, if you're from Universidad Libre, enrolling the Semillero ILET.
Okay, let me see. I think we have here another question for you, Wendy. All right. Okay, what was the most satisfactory aspect for you from the project you implemented?
The most satisfactory thing was having my adult students being masters in technology and being really good at using the computer, the cell phone, and everything I made them use during the implementations, like Teams, Zoom, Google Classroom, Facebook, Padlet, Pixton, everything I used for them, and they had to use it as well because we did the half of the implementation in person and half of them in virtuality. So the most satisfactory thing is that they now tell me, teacher, now I can use a computer without help of my grandson or granddaughter. And that's really good. And also talking to them, like calling them, and then they can speak to me in English and fluently. So
Mm,
that's really good.
okay, there's one person here in the chat that says no questions, just congrats. But there is another question, which is really interesting, I think. Flipped classroom may not take us to reflect on how unuseful is the school.
No, no, because school is not unuseful. School is the base, is like the center. Well, school is, yeah, because students are the center, right? And where do students go? To school. And flip learning is just a part of it. It's just an approach in order for students to learn better and for teachers to teach better. So no, that's not. No, we
Mhm,
to think about that. We don't need to think about schools are going to be closed because flip learning is only technology and technology is going to take the place and teachers are not going to be used anymore. First of all, teachers
mhm,
are not used. Teachers are there because we need them, because we need the guide. Because if you take a look at the definition of flip learning, mine and all of the definitions that are um, in the world of flip learning, we have the word facilitator, the guide, so the teacher is not just watching videos about dogs or cats in the classroom. The teacher is there
mhm,
to answer questions and to be like the light for students. I mean, we also need schools, either in virtuality or in person, but we need schools and we need to have an instructor, like instructional like activities are the ones that are carried out in the group learning space.
okay, right. And I think the last one, how will you continue your research path in relation to flipped learning? What other topics?
I would like to know if flip learning works with flipping reading, flipping writing, and I know I already read about those people that could do it, but I wonder if that would work with my oral students. Also, if I can focus on developing on them maybe pronunciation skills and like more communicative skills, because they already have fluency, but I would like to focus more on the types of communication, types of speaking, so I would like to know if flip learning works. I know it works, but I want to prove that.
Mhm. Do we have more time for another question or is that okay,
I think that's okay.
guys? All right. Okay, I think that's all. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you very much for your contributions, for your work, for sharing your knowledge with us.